Today we're going to go over the hero basics and talent trees. So when you're trying to pair up your heroes, you should understand what the primary and the deputy heroes are both bringing to the party and the importance of a talent tree. So let's break it down in today's video. Hello everyone, yeah, smash like, comment and subscribe for more daily videos with me, MrSneakyy, the one and only, and we're here on Call of Dragons explaining, as you guys know, all about hero pairings and more importantly, talent pages, right? I'm going to give you guys the juiciness so you can understand, hopefully, talent pages and you can make them on your own and give a few different examples of them when it comes to approaching it. So, first things first, let's go down the hero pairings, explaining how hero pairings work, because obviously in this game you can put two commanders together. You can have a primary and a deputy based hero. The cool thing is, if you jump out of this area and go to the March area and go to create, you will get a little informational icon here, and this does explain everything I'm about to tell you. So here is a little info bit here if you want to zoom in and read it, but the grasp of it is pretty simple. Your primary hero, so this is the hero you're going to put in the March. So let's just talk about Syndreon and Freygar, a generational 2 March everyone knows, right? So in this scenario, our Freygar will be the deputy and our Syndreon is the primary based hero. So in this March, when we have this equipped, the primary hero will bring his artifact that's equipped, his war pet that's equipped, all of the star levels, because these are passive buffs to your March, which is very important. So you will get that 5% attack resistance and the defense penetration if you have the 5 and 6 star of this hero. On top of this, you will also get all of the skills of your hero, so any of these that impact marksman and obviously the attack bonuses, you will get all of that on your Legion March. On top of all of this, you will also put your talent page. So your talent page is gonna matter with the primary hero. So remember that. So now when it comes to the deputy hero, so our Freygar in this scenario, all that happens with this match is pretty simple. Her skills are going to be applied to the March, as well as her star level. So as you can see, I've only got her 4 stars. But if I had her 5 or 6 stars, I would also gain the 5% attack resistance and the 5% defense penetration. So hopefully that clears up that question and there's no comments about it. So yes, both heroes will grant this bonus when it is equipped. Because again, this is a passive base skill that you just obtain. Apart from that, you do not contribute anything else. So your deputy's artifact, war pair, and talent page does not contribute to that hero pair's power. So just remember that. Your primary hero does everything, while your deputy hero is all about the star level and obviously the skills of that hero. Obviously, when it comes to the hero pairings, the level does matter. Just remember, obviously, the higher level hero you have, the more Legion capacity that match has. So obviously the level does matter also when it comes to the hero pairing if you're trying to get the maximum troop capacity. So now we've gone over that, we've broke down the hero pairings. Hopefully you understand now what makes a primary and a secondary hero and what you're putting on that March and why it matters compared to the other. So now let's go down into your talent trees. So when it comes to talent trees in this game, there is obviously 3 different branches of that. However, there's one philosophy you need to really get into your heads right now at the start of this segment. Make sure every hero of a different type, maybe if it's all marksman units, each marksman hero has a different talent page. So what I mean by that is if we look at Nico, he has marksman and precision, right? So if we go to a talent page, you can see I've gone down this precision tree and I'm going into the marksman tree now to go for shower of blows. However, if we compare this to my Syndron also has access to the marksman and the precision tree. But when we look at his talents, we're going down a different route because we're putting way more points into this precision tree, as you can see, with extra points put into the end point and just finishing out on this extra little bit of attack here on that marksman stat. So what you can see here is just an example of spreading out different talent pages on your heroes. And the reason you're trying to do this is pretty simple. It's very expensive, guys, to change your different page. Every time you want to switch, if you do not have a hero talent reset book, it's 1,000 gems. So it's no need to do that if you actually think a little bit more outside the box and maybe have a full precision tree on your Syndron. Here with your Magrat, you might have something similar. However, you might change it and have dedication, which is a little bit different, right? And you can see this is a similar approach to that Syndron tree, but a little bit different, right, in the talent choices. And this is what you really want to do when it makes a talent page for all of your marches. So if you're a mage player, try and make all your mage marches have different talent pages. So if you do choose to pick one of those heroes as a primary, it will operate a little bit different compared to all of the other ones. And the reason you do this is so you can cover any scenario. If you're going against more infantry, you might need that talent page designed to deal more damage to them. If you want to go for more, single target burst, you can do that, right? So this is the beauty of actually spreading out your hero talent pages. So now let's actually go into the talent page section, actually talk about different talent pages and the fundamentals that you need to actually create one without actually watching a YouTube video guide if you didn't want to. So when it comes to talent pages, you have 3 different talent trees that is displayed at the top of every match. And the one thing you need to realize is these are different categories of the game. So what happens is the red talent, which you can see on Lilia, is magic, signifies the troop type. So whatever the troop type of this hero is, you will always generally see the exact same talent in that slot. So for another example, Valen is another magic user. You can see at the top it is magic. If we go to Goresh, he is an infantry player. He has the infantry talent here, and you can even see with his skills he buffs infantry units. So always remember the red tree is going to be that troop type. However, you might get the one case scenario like Indis or even Fear that has overall, and this tree is designed to actually work with a variety of units. So remember that. Now when it comes to the yellow tree, this yellow tree is generally to do with the speciality of that march. So this is kind of a tree that's what the maybe devs intended this hero to be really good at. So Fear has the option to be a PvP based hero, boosting a lot of extra stats in PvP scenarios. If we go to compare this to like Indis is got the gathering talent tree, right? And we know this as well with the gathering skill. So you can see how the orange talent tree does kind of work in conjunction to what that hero does. However, there is some good types of yellow trees and there's some bad types of yellow trees, right? The best one out of all of them, as you can imagine, is the PvP tree for all of the open field. However, there is the exception to rally and garrison. That is also an option in the yellow tree for those base heroes. Now, when it comes to the blue tree is generally what I consider the utility tree. This is the tree where the developers give the personality almost to that march. So this could be a variety of different ways they excel over other heroes in combat. So with Skullgirl, you get mobility. So she will have the option to actually engage into combat faster through a different variety of ways. If we look and compare this to Goresh, he has the tank tree. So as you can imagine, this is going to be used to absorb more damage and go down a more tanky based route for infantry. If we go into more of the precision tree, this is what is optional for archers. This is all about single target and enhancing precision based or normal attack damage, which is a really good tree for archers. When we're going into other things like your mages, you're gonna get access to the skill tree. Also stuff like the control tree is available to different heroes in the game. Obviously we see it on a lot of mages at the moment, but you can get it on other heroes too. This is just gonna open up a more utility, very creative route when it comes to that branch. So now with all of that information, let's dive into a talent page. Let's actually create a talent page and explain some basic fundamentals when you're going down that route, so you understand some pros and some not do's. So in this example, we're going to be using my Syndron just to explain some basic fundamentals before we show some talent tree full pages that you could be using in the game, right? So foundational talents, what do you need to remember? There is the Holy Trinity, which I have preached since the dawn of the game, over 600 days ago when we came out, and even players were trying to say the defense was the way to go, and now they bite their bullet. And this is the Holy Trinity. You always start out with these 3 talents. This is always going to be your go-to. It's your levels 3, 6, and 9, so you'll be level 10 when you have completed all of this on your march. When you push to the next level, you will get access to basically the power stone, as I like to call it, or your main keystone of your traits. So what this is Arrow of Precision for my Syndron. This gives him a very special talent. As you can see, deals a little bit more normal attack damage while he ignores enemy units defense. The cool thing is, if we just jump over to Freyga, you can compare this and see hers is balanced heart, right? So just to showcase is that a lot of heroes do gain some very powerful abilities just from this center stone compared to others, right? So remember that when it comes to creating your talent page. So now we open up the upgrade of the tree, and what you want to do is make a choice, and any choice from here, if you are playing a Syndron, isn't bad. You can go down that marksman tree, or you could go down the precision tree. The precision tree is honestly the best tree in regards to a Syndron build, because all of his damage is on a normal attack basis. However, if you're looking at this guide and you're just looking at it maybe from a Kanara or a Nico point of view, going down a marksman tree is not a bad option at all, and I'll explain why in a moment. But what we need to understand before we jump into diving in our points and spending them is some basic fundamentals on how talents actually work, right? So one really good example here is talking about stacking certain talents. So talents like Head Held High here, which says launching a normal attack has a 10% chance this will grant you 50 rage, right? So when you look at this, it's a really good way of generating rage for a archer march. However, when you look up at the other side of the precision tree here for our boy Syndron, or even your Nico, you'll notice we have access to the same talent. And what you might be tempted to do quite often is to get this on together, right? Because you would hope then you would launch a normal attack with a 20% chance to generate 100 rage, which would be absolutely bonkers if it works like that. However, it doesn't. The way this actually works is generating more rage only. So you kind of have a 10% chance to generate that 100 rage per turn. However, from testing, and this is from excessive testings, and I do want to give a big shout out to the old G professor. He was the one who gave us a load of talent information that a lot of content creators use to this day. And it was proven that if you just have double head held high, you do not generate as much rage as just having one of these and going down a more offensive stat bait route, or going down a different way of generating rage, right? So this is one thing you need to remember. Don't try and conflict anything which has this similar style of ability together, right? Really big, important one, that is. However, when you try to combine certain talents for stats, that does work. So if you're going to look at stuff like Last Word, this is 4% counterattack damage. And if you go up into the marksman tree right above me, boom, we have 4% damage. That will actually give you 8% counterattack damage bonus as a talent page if you rock both of them. Because this is a passive stat given over a effect that triggers through combat. So just remember that again when we are designing our talent pages. So now with all of that, what are some of the more important things when it comes to creating a page? One thing I would always try to design if you're more of a T4 player is to get as much march speed, and if you can try and get some rage generation in your build, that's going to actually help you a lot, because depending on the heroes you're going to be running, you always need march speed to get in and out of combat, so you can actually, you know, hit your enemies and get out without taking any major damage. It's really, really important with the ranged combat in Call of Dragons. So when we're looking at march speed, a really good tip here is comparing precision tree to the unit tree. So when you look at the unit tree like the marksman here, what you actually get access to is more stats at a base level, which is really, really important if you're trying to actually get the most bang for your buck stat for stat. So a good way of showcasing this is the marksman speed. You get 3% per level, so you get a maximum of 15% bonus march speed. However, when you go down and look at overall speed, you're only gaining a 2% bonus, meaning you're capping out at 10%, losing 5% march speed. So this could matter when you're trying to mid-max a specific build, like we're going to go through as an example on our Syndrion, right? So just remember that when you're trying to think of builds, why you might want to go down this tree at some point to get that extra little bit of a bonus. So now let's build our Syndrome. We've gone through, I think, as much information to get you guys going. Hopefully you've understood and learned a lot of information when building a talent page now. But what we're going to do is build one for our Syndrome. And as we know, Syndrome is a very normal attack base heavy hero. Using his rapid fire, he really does want normal attacks. So when you're trying to build a hero like this, precision tree is honestly the best way of just performing with that hero. It has been proven through just a sheer amount of battle reports from T5s in all over the planet. So what we're going to do is go down straight away down the middle, and the way we're going to do this, and we're going to ignore this march speed, is because we plan to later on grab some march speed over here. We're going to get that extra 5%, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. But first, we're going to go straight down the middle when it comes to our hero, because this is all attack for our Syndrome, increasing normal attack as well as even increasing our base attack, but reducing hero skill damage, which really this hero doesn't do too much of, which is a really good trade-off. From here, you're going to get access to your main first keystones, and obviously depending on your talent build you might be building with me right now, if you're building something like a Nico, maybe Kanara, or even a Hosk potentially, you might still go down the invincible route. This is increasing your normal attack, but Whirlwind is a valid option. It just allows you to deal a little bit extra damage more consistently through your skill damage. So it just gives you that extra little bit of burst on top. So if you're running like a Nico, you could run this as well on your precision tree. However, we are Syndrome, so we will be running invincible in this case scenario. And from here, we get some really good, powerful talent. One talent I want to just give a good little heads up on: if you ever get 1 point ever, and you ever try to think of a way to drop it in the precision tree, 2% of removing a debuff is actually very, very powerful when you're launching a massive amount of attacks, especially on Syndrome. So this is a really underrated talent that I don't think a lot of players are using, and it might become very powerful the more the game develops, right? The more debuff heroes come out, as you can imagine, like the Rise of Kingdoms meta. But what we're going to do, and I think a lot of other precision players will all agree, this is the best talent ever. This is just increasing your damage by 10% flat out when you're above 50%, and that is really important because that's when you deal the most amount of damage when you're in the game, which is a nice little tip going back to that hero pairing segment. From here, you do get some options, and this is where in a talent page, you're going to understand now links, right? So there's a talent link here between Intrepid and Unstoppable. And if you want to unlock Unstoppable, as you can see, you will need to spend all 5 points in the previous talent to unlock this. This is the same when you want to unlock up Force of Will. You will need to get head held high. So it will limitate your build. If you grab this head held high here, go for Force of Will, it means you don't want to grab this one on this side. So hopefully that explains a little bit more on the intricacies now on a talent page. But what we're going to do is go straight up the normal ladder. We're going to increase these points by 5. And every time we're increasing a talent by 5, we will go up and into a new tree, right? So we're going to go and finish this tree off with Mighty Slash. And what you can do from here is a variety of things. So what I'm going to do is showcase what you can do and get some easy stats now. So we're going to grab some quick marksman mark speed, and this is 15% instead of sacrificing 5 points over here for 10%. And we can choose now if we want to go for the 4% and maximize here and get 5%, so we can even get 9% extra damage. Or alternatively, we can try and go down a more damage reduction route for our March. If you feel like your Syndrome takes a lot of damage, why not reduce it by 1.5% and then go down a bullseye route, which is all about normal attacks, which is really good with Syndrome, right? So you'd be very surprised on that. So this is just explaining now a talent page. Hopefully you understand how to build one. And now with all of that in one amazing guide, you should understand how to build a hero pair. You should understand the primary and the deputy has their own buffs, and they power up obviously the main legion. You should understand now the differences on all the different talent pages and how to create talent pages and the do's and don'ts when it comes to it. So if you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Smash like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next video, guys, stay safe, stay sneaky, guys, and peace out.